Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is McKay Allen. I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Conversa, and we're excited you're here today. We've got a really exciting webinar with a great guest, Travis Bliffen of Stellar SEO. They're based just outside of St. Louis, and he's really one of the most technically savvy SEO experts that I've ever been around and seen speak. And so I'm really excited to have him on the call today. Just super excited. He always does a great job. But first, just a brief introduction as to who Conversa is, what we do, and why we do these webinars quickly, and then we'll do some housekeeping items and get it over to Travis. So Conversa, we're a call analytics company. We do marketing analytics for phone calls. And essentially what that means is, think about the depth of data you get from tools like Kissmetrics or Google Analytics. We do the same thing for calls. So we can tell you which calls generate, or which campaigns and ads rather generated phone calls, which is increasingly important in mobile search, in the mobile search world, right? Second thing we do is we actually analyze the calls themselves for with voice recognition technology to extract data like, okay, did this call result in revenue? Did this call result in a reservation? Was this a missed opportunity that we can recapture somehow? So we can give you all that data with our system automatically and in real time. And then the third thing we do is we actually do real marketing automation for phone calls. So we can actually send emails, text messages, alerts, etc. based on what happened on the call, which is a unique value proposition. So this is call tracking on steroids on serious performance-enhancing medication. So that's what we're about. All right, why do we do these webinars? We've done a ton of them. If you go to our site, which is conversa.com, go to resources, and click on webinars, you'll see a bunch of webinars we've done just in the past couple weeks. So last week we did a webinar with Main Street ROI called Top 10 Digital Marketing Trends. You can read the transcript, see the webinar itself. Same thing, we did a webinar last week with Fred Valet, the CEO of Optimizer, about trends in Google AdWords. So we'll post the webinar, this webinar, on our resources section after it's over. So you can go there and check it out. It is going to be recorded, and you can find that recording there as well. You can also see, of course, case studies, infographics, our blog, and white papers on the resources section as well. Now, the question, why do we do these webinars, is an obvious one. We're not a webinar company, right? We're a call analytics company. But one of the things we learned really quickly is that people are willing to listen to you if you provide them something of value. That's sort of content marketing 101, right? So that's what we just set out to do. We said we're going to partner with some of the brightest minds in the marketing world, create webinars, and hopefully people will pay attention, and it's worked out really well. Plus, we've learned a lot as we've listened to presentations, as I'm sure you have as well. So we appreciate you being here. Now, in terms of quick house cleaning, we encourage you to ask questions on today's webinar. So please go to the question area on your GoToWebinar screen there. You can see it. Just click on it. And just so you guys know where it is, I'd like you quickly just to type in the question area where you're calling in from today. Just so we have a sense as to who's on the call. So just type in where you're calling in from, city and state if you would, and that'll give us an idea as to where everybody is. As I said, I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is cold and clear, blue sky, but windy and cold. Not windy, but cold with some snow on the ground. Travis is in St. Louis, just outside of St. Louis today. Okay, it looks like we got some people from California, some people from Philadelphia, Atlanta, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma, Colorado, New York City, St. Louis, Charleston. Charleston's awesome, Kim. I love Charleston. I don't know. Give me the quick version, Kim, on the questions why you think Charleston is better than Savannah, because I like them both very much. We have someone from Germany. We have Silicon Valley, several people from the Silicon Valley, Palo Alto, and San Jose, and San Francisco, that area, which is natural in the marketing and tech world. So thank you all for being here today. We appreciate it. I'm going to run one poll, and then we'll get started. So you can see on your screen here a poll that will come up right now. It's about basic call tracking. We just want to get a sense as to whether or not you use call analytics and call tracking. So please just take literally 20 seconds to fill that out, and then we'll get this over to Travis. So just take a second, fill that out. Looks like about 70% of you have voted. Let's get that up to 80 or so, and then we'll be done. Okay, great. So here's the results of the campaign, or the, what's it called, poll. So it looks like the majority of you use call tracking. About 55% of you use call tracking at least on some campaigns. 41% of you say no, and only 5% of you are like, I literally have no idea what you're talking about. So that's good to know. That's really helpful. So thanks for that. Okay, now let's turn it over to Travis. As I said, Travis, he's with Stellar SEO. He does an incredible job. He's a fantastic speaker, and their company does a wonderful job for a variety of different businesses. If you're in need of getting ranked for more keywords or higher for certain keywords, talk to Travis. So Travis, thanks for being here, man. I'm going to give you control of the screen, sir. In just
All right,
a
looking
moment.
forward to it.
All right, here we go. You should have it now. There you are. Okay.
All right. Everybody see my screen okay?
I'm not seeing your screen yet. I'm seeing the intro screen, but I'm not seeing your slides.
How about now?
There we go. Perfect.
All right. Look, that went pretty smoothly, I got to say. I'm happy with how things are going so far.
Good, good. Thanks for being here again, Travis. I'll be quiet until the end, and then we'll take questions.
All right, sounds good. So again, Travis from Stellar SEO. We are located just outside of St. Louis. We do both local and organic search marketing. But what we've tried to advocate for a couple of years now is, SEO goes well beyond ranking a website for a few keywords. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to step back and take a look at what you actually see when you look at a modern day search result, how that can impact your business, and then we're going to look at ways you can actually improve your presence online. And the end goal of this obviously is you want to get more people in the door, you want to get more contact form filled out, or you want to get more phone calls. So with that end goal in mind, we're just going to go ahead and get started. Some of the key takeaways. What are the SERPs composed of? So basically, again, what do you see when you look at it? What can you do to improve it? How can you create content for local? And then very important thing is, even if you're doing all these steps right, what can you do to make sure that you're getting the most out of it? So how are you measuring it? How are you improving it? How are you testing different variables? So if you're not measuring anything right now, that's okay. But by the end of this, you're going to want to start measuring stuff, and once you measure things, you're definitely going to be happy that you started. So right here, this is a basic local search result for those of you who aren't familiar. There used to be 7 listings right over here. There would be 7 listings, and then you would have an option to view more. Several months ago, this got cut down to 3. So that means that, all across the United States, people who showed up in the top 7, 4, 5, 6, or 7, they're now gone. So for a lot of you, maybe even people listening to this, you've seen a drop in phone calls, over the past several months. And for some people, if that was the lifeblood of your business, this really could have had an impact on your bottom line. And that's obviously not what Google intended to do. But sometimes in the quest for improvement, you have a little bit of collateral damage, and in this case, your site might have been that collateral damage. So we're going to look at things you can do to get your spot back, to get your numbers back up, and to get things back to how they were before this change. The other thing that when you do a standard search, especially for a local search result, and this is what's commonly under the map result that we just discussed, you'll see that there's a lot of local directory listings now. This actually started last year when Google started favoring bigger directories because they figured out, wait a second, if somebody's searching for, best service, best contractor, best plumber, best roofer, best restaurant, maybe they're not always looking for a single website to try and sell them on one particular restaurant. Maybe they're actually looking for a place to compare or to get an unbiased opinion of things. So in doing this, you have sites like Angie's List, the Better Business Bureau, Yellow Pages. These sites have all started to show up higher in the search results. And with that, you have an opportunity now to list your website on these sites. Even if you don't have a website that ranks organically, then you still have an opportunity to get exposure online. And for those of you who lost traffic when the local pack update happened, this is one really good, very simple opportunity that you may have to kind of regain a little bit of traffic and to do it fairly quickly. For those of you who maybe don't understand the reason why this works is because sites like Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, Yellow Pages, they're all trusted sites. They have a lot of domain authority. So every time you create a new listing on one of these sites, that creates a new page. The page gets benefits from the domain authority of Angie's List, for example, but the page itself doesn't have any authority because nobody's linked to that individual page. So since it's a trusted website, though, you can build links to it very quickly. You can build low-quality links, and oftentimes you can build a smaller number of links to a website. And in doing that, it will boost your page authority more quickly than it would if you started on your own website, which may not have any domain authority at all. So the most simple overview of this is you can oftentimes list your site on a directory like Angie's List. You could pay somebody, or you could even do it yourself if you're remotely familiar, to build just a few links to this listing you have. And in doing so, you might start to show up in local results with one of these listings. Now, obviously, it's not going to have the same click-through rate or conversion rate you would see if it was your main website, because there's going to be competitors there with you. But if you found yourself in a position where you've lost a good majority of your traffic and the phone's not ringing, any phone calls will help. Any contact force will help. So this is one quick way that you can take advantage of a change Google has made and use that to benefit your own business, and to do so quickly and cost effectively. And again, this works really well for service type businesses. Another change that we've seen with, and again, this is, a lot of these were focused on local search, and with local search, a good portion of them, not all, has to do with service area businesses. So obviously contractors, restaurants, anybody that services an area. I mean, it could be house cleaning. There's a lot of things it could be. These examples are contractor focused, but think if you're in a service business, the same principles apply. It'll just be slightly different. So in this particular case, you see that we are looking at locksmiths in San Francisco. What we have here is, this is actually a test that Google's doing right now for a new type of pay-per-click advertising. And with this type of pay-per-click ads, these contractors sign up, they advertise, they go through some sort of background check, and in doing so, they're able to be listed. So you could argue that Google's almost gotten into the local lead generation business with these types of listings. Earlier, I showed you that the maps went from 7 to 3 spots. There's a lot of people that actually think that they did that as a preliminary strike in order to make more room for things like this to appear. Obviously, Google makes money when they sell ads, so if they can change the search results so that there are more ads, then there's a possibility, to increase their revenue, and as long as they do so in a way that offers value, people are going to continue to use Google, which for that reason they'll never do away completely with organic results because they have to maintain their value. But opportunities like this are starting to pop up. So if you're not working with a pay-per-click advertising company, if you're not familiar with it yourself, and if you're not staying on top of the game, you need to be aware that these things are happening, and you should at least, at minimum, follow a few good blogs that will keep you updated on stuff like this. Another example that yes.
Hey, Travis, sorry to interrupt you, bud. Hey,
yeah.
We just got a couple people commenting. Just wanted to make sure you were aware that you're not full screen. You're just still showing the slides on the side. That's okay. I just want to make sure you knew about it. That's all. Continue.
Yeah, I do. We can, here you go. We'll make it full screen.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Yep. Okay, so with this, another thing that just happened a couple weeks ago is they've started showing, if you search, I believe if you were to open Google right now and you were to search for cheap insurance Arizona, it would actually pull up a window, and you would be able to request a quote for insurance directly through Google. It's actually another type of paid advertising, so they actually collect information, your name, your contact information, what type of vehicle you have, and they send that out to people paying to advertise. You know, again, this is new, and not a lot of people know this, but if you're an insurance company, you know about the areas where this is happening, and you're one of the first people to take advantage of it, you're going to be able to generate a lot of leads, and the cost is going to be lower because the competition isn't there yet. Again, that's why it's really important that you find at least a couple of good blogs that cover the latest in paid advertising, and you want to stay on top of it, because in 2016, we're definitely going to see some more things like this from Google, and those two examples are just kind of the start of it. And right now, there could be 10 or 12 other types of paid ads that I just haven't ran across yet, but they're out there. So you definitely want to be looking for ones that are specific to your industry and seeing how you can implement those. Okay, so to kind of step back for a second here, if you want to show up on Google in the map results I showed you, you have to have a map listing. You know, I do this so often that I'd almost taken it for granted that people knew this, and in a recent webinar somebody brought to my attention, you know, that's great, but we don't have a Google listing, what do we do? So that's why I included this slide. You go to google.com/business, and it will actually, they've updated the interface now, so it's a lot more user-friendly than it used to be. So you literally go there, you fill out the information about your business, and they'll send you a verification postcard. And in that, you have created the very basic listing for your business. You can go back and improve it, but if you currently don't have a listing and you're not sure where to start, definitely go to this address and get yourself listed there. Okay. In doing so, this is another thing that people are maybe not often familiar with, or you hear it in different terms, but the industry calls it a citation. So basically, a citation is just a directory like Yellow Pages where you list your name, your address, and your phone number. Sometimes it can link to your website, sometimes it can contain other information, but to be a citation, it just has to have your name, address, and phone number. So when you build a Google Plus page, you've actually created a citation for your business. So what Google looks at when they're determining if your business is likely in an area, how high you should show up on the map results, you know, the legitimacy of your business, if you're an actual brand or maybe just a fan website that's been created, they're actually looking at citations. So places like Google, that's a great citation. Places like Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau, there's industry-specific citations. I actually have a full presentation on citation building and boosting, so we won't go into that in great detail here, but if you're not familiar with the term citations and you are a local business and you're not sure where to start, you should go online at least and search for some information about citation building, where to list your business, search for citations, plus whatever your industry is, whatever your business is. Maybe if you're a plumber, type in plumber citation sources, and you're going to find a lot of good things. Now, if you think back to a few slides ago, we talked about how you could list your business on a place like Yellow Pages or Angie's List, and you could actually build links to that, and you could rank that listing. So if you think about that for a minute, you can quickly see how one thing builds upon another. If you find 20 directories for plumbers, and you build links to all those directories, then you could have several sites that show up when people search for plumbers in your area. So what that means for you is you get exposure. It's fairly inexpensive compared to your own website, and it happens much quicker sometimes than ranking a brand new website because of the existing authority. Now here, as I mentioned, you can actually just do a search for, in this example, we did Plumber St. Louis, and we saw that these pages were listed. So this actually works good for two ways. I know there's several places where you can search. You can type in the list of citations for plumbers, but one thing that you want to make sure you do is you want to search for your business plus your area. So let's say that you're a plumber in St. Louis, you search for plumbers in St. Louis, and the reason why you do it this way versus just picking a list of good citation sources is you will actually see in your city which directories are already ranking. So in this example, Better Business Bureau, Yellow Pages, Angie's List, Yelp, and Home Advisors. Those are all ranking for plumbers in St. Louis. So now you know, without going through 100 different directory sites, 100 different citation opportunities, that listing your business on these, it already gives you a better opportunity to show up to people searching because these sites already exist. They already rank. They already show up. So what if you create a listing on these pages that are already ranking, and you do just a little bit of work to boost your listing compared to the listing that's currently showing? Those are the types of things that, you know, this is not the way that SEO companies, this is not the way that businesses marketing themselves have been thinking for the past several years. But in 2016, this is the type of stuff you need to look at, because Google search has been personalized so much that there are big variations even in two different cities. If you search plumber St. Louis and plumber Los Angeles, if we looked in Los Angeles, we might not find these 5 directory sites ranking. So we want to make sure that we look at the results as specific as possible. So if you, as a business owner, are in Los Angeles, look for Los Angeles. Make a list of those directories showing up and start there, because you know, in 2016, the smart business is the one that's going to take what Google has changed, what Google has adopted, and they're going to use that to their advantage. You know, for several years with link building, you could fight against Google and you could actually put stuff where they didn't necessarily want it. Now you can, if you do the same type of link building, but you do it to sites that they already want to be there, it's going to make your life so much easier and you're going to have a lot better results. And if you're an SEO and you're doing this for your clients, you know, ranking a Yellow Pages page, it could happen within, you know, 4 or 6 weeks, depending on how you do it. And so that's an easy way to say, hey, look, you know, here's something we've done already. It's not the end goal, but you can see that things are happening. Because, you know, the sooner your clients start getting phone calls in return, the happier they're going to be with your service. So really, just to summarize that, in everything you do, if you take nothing away from this webinar but that, look at what Google's telling you they want to rank. Look at the content. Look at how the content's written. Look at the links of it. Look at the sites it's on. And use that. You know, if you're looking for electronics, is it review sites that compare multiple things? Make note of all those things. Be very aware of your surroundings and use that to your advantage. Okay, another thing you can do, if you actually want to invest in a tool, this is the one I use. It's Whitespark Citation Finder. You can check them out at whitespark.ca. What this does is you actually enter your location and your business. So again, we use plumbers, and this is actually in St. Louis. You can see right here, plumber St. Louis. Sorry, guys. I've been outdone by my slideshow. Okay. So you can see plumbers in St. Louis, and you can see the types of citations they have. So you can see here Yellow Pages, White Pages, Yahoo, Qualitrends. I'm not really sure what that site is, but it would be worth looking into. So doing this is a way that if you're doing this for a customer, if you want to do it at scale for your own business, these are things that you know, this is the type of tool that you want to use, because right here you can see that this found us 177 citation sources. So now we can just simply export these, and we can go through and pick the ones that look like they're worth listing on and create those listings, and that's a lot faster than if we had to do it manually. Even though I recommend this tool for the bulk of citation building, you definitely still want to take the time to search manually for the keyword in your city, so again you can see what directories are listed and take advantage of that. Okay, so the couple ways we talked about, it's actually pretty easy to find citations. You know, simple search, you use a tool, either way you find the citations. But where a lot of people mess up, especially people doing this for the first time, is maybe you stumble across the site while you're doing something and you say, oh, you know what, I'm going to list my business on this site real quick. So you may say you have a couple phone numbers at your company. So you may just think, oh, okay, I'm going to list my business, and you use the main office line. So then the next time you list your business, you use an alternate office line, and now what you have is you have inconsistent name, address, and phone number information. So what you have to be very careful of is you want to make sure that you have a plan before you start building citations. You should start with a plan that has all the sites listed, and you should, whether you use a spreadsheet, whether you build an in-house form, if you're going to have another company do this or you're going to outsource it, make sure that you're very specific on your instructions. But you want to make sure that the name, address, and phone number is listed consistently everywhere that you put it. And I mean in the exact same way. Now, people argue if you type in, LANE for lane, or you type in LN period, Google will know the difference. But it's so easy to make it consistent. Why not just make sure that even the small details like that are the same? Another thing that's important, I believe, for citations is that you want to use a local phone number versus a 800 number. And there's still ways you can implement call tracking and use a local number. There's places for call tracking that are all extremely beneficial, but in your citations, you want to make sure that you have a localized number and that it's consistent. So again, a spreadsheet might be the easiest way. And then we actually will send in a follow-up email. We've actually built out a form on our site, and you could copy that form for your own use. That will, you could, if you have any clients, you can send that to them and it will organize it all into a spreadsheet for you. So those are both ways you can keep track of it. But again, second takeaway from this webinar, if you're doing anything with citations, make them consistent. Name, address, phone number, consistent. Okay. This is probably the third time we've talked about ranking citations. So by now, I hope you realize just what a good strategy this is and just how well it works. Okay. A lot of people don't realize, and maybe you didn't even realize until a few minutes ago, that you can rank a citation just like you can a regular website. So if you just opened a plumbing business, you don't have a website, you're not getting any phone calls, so you don't really have money to build a website. Go to free listings, list your business. And then you can do very simple things. You could even go over to a site like Fiverr and get some really cheap links built to this yellow page listing to help to boost it. So I mean, we're talking about a free listing, $10 on a site like Fiverr, and now you're getting some phone calls to your business. Is it the most glorious way? No. Is it the absolute best way? No. But if you're just looking for a place to start, that's a good place to start. If you already have a website that ranks and you're looking to take up multiple positions on the first page, again, citations are a great way to do it. The click-through rate on average for a number one position is around 34%. And then number two, I think it's 15%, and number three, it's around 9%. So, obviously, just if you do the numbers, what if you're position number 1, 2, and 3? That doubles your click-through rate. So even if you don't get any more searches, even if it's for just one keyword you already rank for, doing something simple like this could double the amount of people come to your site. If nothing else changes, if 100 people coming to your site gets you one phone call, and now you have 300 people come to your site, you're going to get 3 phone calls. And that, it would be silly not to take advantage of that. So if you're not doing this, if you're not working with a company that's suggested this to you, if you haven't considered it in-house, this is something you need to look at. And not just citation sites, which is what we've talked about, but social profiles, anything that has a unique URL. You could upload a picture to a site and rank that sometimes. So you just have to be, again, aware, and that's why you really want to look at and see what's ranking in your area, because that gives you a roadmap of what else you can rank. So what I said in the beginning is before, you try to rank one website for one keyword in the top spot, and that's the end of the day. But that's not where we want to stop now. We want to rank number 1 through 10. In an ideal scenario, you would have every listing on every page. And citations are just one additional property you can use to dominate that space. Okay, so quick recap. I know we're kind of moving through this. It's a lot to cover. But for those of you sitting there and you haven't done anything online yet, not sure where to start, here's a simple checklist you can do, and it's actually really going to make a difference for your business. Set up your Google page, make sure it's filled out. Do that simple search I told you about where you search for your service plus your area and find out what directories are ranking. In addition to that, search for citation sites, directory sites that are niche specific, or use a tool like Whitespark. And once you've done that, take those citations and look up, read a little bit more on. You can check out our site. We have some information on that too, to find out how to rank those citations. And a big thing is this: sometimes your phone numbers might change. You might move addresses. Your description might change. You might add a new service. It's a nightmare when you have 200 citations and you can't log into them to update them. So again, a spreadsheet in this case might be your best friend. Get that spreadsheet out. Make sure that you have all the information recorded, the URL, the address, the login, the email address, security questions. Make it very detailed so that, even if you don't go back and make the updates, you can pass that on to somebody else when it's time for them to make it. Okay. So basically, up until this point, what we've talked about is things you can do off of your website to rank in Google without necessarily ranking your own website. So obviously, it would be preposterous to not tell you that it's important to rank your website in Google, because it's been making people millions of dollars for several years to rank their website in Google, and I'm not telling you by any means don't do that. So now what we're going to take a look at is basically 3 things that we need to do locally to rank our website better in Google. Okay, this is from Bright Local, and it's a survey they did to figure out what's the most important things for local ranking. So as you can see in 2015, which is the blue bar, on-page signals made up 20%, links made up 20%, and Google My Business signals made up 20%, and then external locations 14%. So if you even ignore these smaller ones, you still have a really good high percentage. So what does this actually come down to? What are on-page signals? What are links? Google My Business signals. That's what we just talked about when setting up your Google My Business listing, and making sure that that listing you set up is filled out accurately, is making sure all the information is there. An external location basically comes down to citations. Do you have citations? Are they on trusted sites? Are they all consistent? So you already know how to do 2 out of the 4 very important elements of local SEO. So here is on-page SEO. If you did nothing else to each page of your website, these are things that you want to make sure you have done. So, if you're just starting a website, you have no clue what to do, where to begin, what to start, or you have a website that's been up for a while even, and it's not showing up anywhere, check back after the replay of this webinar and make sure that you copy these 7 steps. Very easy. You want to have the city and state plus the product or service in the title of the Google My Business landing page. So some people get confused about this. Should they all point to my home page, or should they be a location-specific page? Very simple. If you only have one location, it can link to your home page, but your home page title should include your city and state plus the product or service. If you have multiple locations, you should have a page for each location. On each one of those pages, it should contain the city and state of that location, plus the product or service, and it should be linked to from a Google My Business listing for that area. So, for example, we're in Marion, Illinois, and if we had another office in St. Louis, Missouri, we would create a page on our website, SEO Services Marion, Illinois, and we would link to it from the Marion, Illinois business listing. We would have another page on our website that's SEO Services, St. Louis, Missouri, and we would link to that page from a Google My Business page that's for St. Louis, Missouri. So this is a super common mistake I see, and although it sounds extremely simple, there are a lot of people who have multiple locations, but they have, and they might even have 2 or 3 or 4 Google My Business listings, but they all link to the home page. So you're not doing yourself any good by doing that. You're actually harming your efforts. So if you have multiple locations, each should have its own page and its own listing, and then to continue that one step further, each one should have its own citation. So for every location, you should have yellow pages and Angie's List and Yelp. Moving onto that page, you want to have the city and state mentioned in the H1 and H2. They say in the H1 and H2, but Google's gotten really good at understanding the overall topic of a page. So you can have it in either or you can have a combination. So say your H1 tag is SEO services and your H2 tag is your city name. That's okay because they'll understand that you're talking about SEO and you're talking about a city. They can put 2 and 2 together. What you don't want to do is make your URL and your page title and your H1 and H2 all the same thing. So for example, SEO services Marion, Illinois. I wouldn't want to put that 4 times because it's going to be over optimized. The next thing you want to do is have your name, address, and phone number listed on the site. And it should do 2 things here. One, it should match exactly with how you have it listed on Google My Business. And the second thing is it should be marked up using schema markup, which is basically a bit of code that tells Google how to read what's on your site. So they come to it and they know, okay, this is the address for the site. And it matches Google My Business. Now you've got a positive box. A positive check in a positive box, rather. Another thing you want to look at is Google My Business landing page speed. Basically, there's been countless studies. I can't even pretend that I can remember all of them. But they've all found one thing in common. Your website's slow, people leave. So Google said, hey, you know what? People don't like slow websites. We don't want to show people slow websites. This is a pretty simple thing to get right. You can go and you can use something like the Google Page Speed Insights, and it'll tell you if your website's slow, and it'll tell you what's wrong with it. But what you don't want to have is a slow website. On that note, you don't want to have a website that's not mobile optimized because you're going to miss out on a lot of traffic. And that's another thing. Google has a mobile-friendly page tester, so just throw your landing page, throw your website in those 2 tools. Make sure they're not slow. Make sure they're mobile-friendly. If they're not, they're both fairly easy things to get fixed, but they make a big difference. Okay, so the next thing is this, geographic keyword relevance of domain content. What that means very simply is, if, again, our office is in Marion, Illinois, and our website is StellarSEO.com, well, nowhere in StellarSEO.com is Marion, Illinois addressed. So in the subfolder, we would want to make that Marion, Illinois. Or you can do it a couple ways. You could do it Marion, Illinois. You could make it Illinois, and then a subset of that could be Marion. But the important thing is you want to indicate to Google in the URL somehow that this page is related to a specific geographical area. Okay. The next thing is content, and basically there's 2 areas where content is going to help out. The first one has to do with your page titles, your meta descriptions. If you're listing your site on a third-party site, the advertising you use. Those things are important because even if you rank number 1, 2, and 3, and if you have titles and you have descriptions that people aren't interested in, they're not going to click on your website. So you've just wasted time and money ranking, and you're still not going to see any results from it. So think of your page title, think of your meta descriptions, think of those as ads. You have an ad headline, you have a short ad description. When you write those, think about how you might write an ad if you were to use Google AdWords. Think about how you might write an ad if you were advertising somewhere else, offline, say, and carry those over into the page titles and descriptions for your website. Okay. Topical relevance is what I mentioned a minute ago, and in doing so, I mentioned how Google looks at the overall topic of a page, not just, this page is keyword about this, and page 2 is about the same keyword with an S on the end. Page 3 is about the same keyword in a different way. So before, you might have a page, and each page might rank for 1 or 2 keywords. Now you could literally find 50 variations of a keyword and rank one page for all 50 variations. So why that's important to you, though, in the content creation part is because when you're looking at your competitors, and remember, I said it's very important that you get a good look at what the competitive landscape looks like, what's out there in your area, what Google likes for your search results. You might look at top 5 competitors and do a keyword, and don't take this as I'm saying that, use a keyword density tool, because keyword density and that's kind of an outdated practice. But the tool will still do something very good for you. It will tell you what words they mention in their content. So, just by looking at 1 or 2 of your competitors, you could create a list of 20 or 30 or 40 words that go together to help understand the overall, to help Google understand the overall topic, and those are called LSI keywords. Okay, the other thing that's changed, for a long time you could write content, and if nobody read it, if nobody shared it, if nobody engaged with it, no, it's okay. You could still rank with enough links. Now Google measures a variety of factors, and some are more controversial than others, but one that most people can agree on is called dwell time. So say somebody searches for a plumber in St. Louis. They click on your website, and in 1 second they click back to the search results and click on another website. Google looks at that and they say, okay, every time somebody clicks on website number 1, they spend 1 second there, and then they come back and they go to website number 2, and on website number 2 they don't come back to search. So Google will say, okay, if we look at that, obviously our users are telling us website number 2 must be better. It's built better, it's got better content, something on the website's better. So that can actually cause it can cause your rankings to move down if you're number 1. And that's just one of the many things. It literally could turn into a 16-hour conversation about all the on-page metrics that you can measure, but instead of really drilling down on every one of those, we want to keep kind of a top-level overview today. And what you need to know is that you have to write content that makes people want to engage with it. I know for some, maybe you're a service business and they click on your thing, they find your phone number, and they call you. The whole thing takes 10 seconds. Okay, that's going to happen. It's maybe people aren't going to want to read up about how to fix pipes, but you still have to do what you can to engage them. So some ways I've seen that local businesses do this is say that it's a local plumbing company, but they work with a local building company and a bank loan company or a home lending company. So maybe they'll share some news that's relevant to the community. Sure, it's not about how to fix your broken pipe when the weather gets too cold, but it's about a community. It's got something to do with building homes, developing the area. Google can understand that home loans and area development and plumbing, they're all related to building and construction and development. And there's probably a lot more people locally that would read a news type article about that than are those who care about how to fix the pipes, which there are people who obviously want to do that too. I'm not saying alienate those people, but the key is to have a really good mixture of the two, so you can engage a lot of people and engage them in different ways and keep them entertained and keep them coming back to your website. All right, this one, proper keyword pairing, drives me nuts. People mess this one up a lot. You go over to Google Keyword Planner or whichever keyword tool you want to use, and you say, okay, look, I found 20 search terms and they're all asking about something related to plumbing and that people search for. So these must be the keywords I need to use. But what they fail to look at is the intent behind it. If you've been around SEO very long, you've probably heard people in the past mention long tail keywords how long-tail keywords convert better. The reason why, though, is because long-tail keywords help you understand intent. Okay? If you understand the intent of the person searching, then you can give them content that meets their needs. So here's a couple examples. What is SEO? This is a classic informational search term. People don't know what it is. They're probably not ready to buy it yet, but they might have a problem. And they've heard somewhere or had somebody tell them that SEO could be a solution to the problem they're having. Maybe they're not getting enough phone calls. Maybe their website's not getting visits. So they know they have a problem, and they know SEO might be the solution. So what do they want to see? They want to see content that explains to them what SEO is. How can SEO help businesses? Show them some examples of businesses that have been helped with SEO. Explain to them how it actually does. You know, people search for information. They find your business. There's inherent trust with it. There's a lot of things that you could do and go into and discuss that would help them better understand what SEO is. At that point, you know, they may or may not buy. But if they've come to you and they've come to understand what SEO is based upon the information you've given them, if they do decide to move forward with SEO, it's much more likely that they're going to come back to you to continue that journey because they're already comfortable with you. Okay. Another example of this, local SEO services. Maybe you search for local plumbers near me. Okay. Classic example of a buyer's keyword. You've walked into your bathroom, a pipe's frozen, you hear water gushing under your house. You could care less about how the plumbers do it, what they're going to use to do it with, what the best practices are for plumbing. You just want somebody to come and fix your pipe, and you want them to do it now. So when you create a page for people, a buyer's keyword, they've got to know, you know, or I'm sorry, you have to know what they're doing. So on this example, the page, you should give them, you know, a very quick, short description, 24-hour emergency plumbing service, call now, free consultation. That may be the only things they look at before they're on the phone with you. And if you can toss a review in there, then great, even better, because then they have everything they need. They don't even have to scroll on your website to get what they need. Okay. Now, here's another example of a buyer keyword. But this one is not somebody who's got an emergency situation. They're not in a hurry. Company name plus reviews. So they've probably, and you may have done this too even with products, it doesn't have to be a company, it could be a product in a non-local setting. So let's say that you're looking for, you know, ultra-high-def television, 55-inch ultra-high-def TVs. So you search for reviews. What are you doing? You want to buy one, but you're looking for information to help you make a better informed buying decision. So if I'm creating a web page that is really going to help users with this, really going to drive the point home, I want to create a web page that does a side-by-side comparison of the top 10 brands of TVs. It shows you the pros and cons of each, the pricing. That's the type of content that's really going to help somebody with that search. So, you know, as SEOs, as business owners, as people doing SEO for clients, you have to step back and ask yourself, what is it that they really want? Because if you're not making the type of content they actually want, you're going to have a harder time ranking, and in the years to come, you know, you will probably be outdone by those who do take the time to understand exactly what type of content they want. Okay, link building for local SEO. Basically, what this one is talking about, and what we cover here, looks like we're getting a little long on time. So in summary, link building for local SEO, what they look at is domain authority, the quality and authority of it, obviously the number of types of links you have, how good they are. Basically, you know, do you have a lot of citation links? Do you have a lot of contextual links, or all your links coming from forums and blog comments? They look at all these types of things, and what they're looking for is a profile that seems very natural, and one that shows them that, hey, you know what, he's a plumber, he's getting a bunch of links from home builders, real estate companies, home loan companies. So it's something that's very consistent. So when you're out there, when you're building links, when you're trying to get people to link to you, just stop and ask yourself, who is likely to do business with me in real life that might have a website? Those are the people that you want to link to your business, because Google wants to see, that in real life you're an actual business that's functioning, that's thriving, and they're rewarding you online because of that. So if nothing else, without getting super technical, without getting a lot of expensive tools, just ask yourself, who do I do business with that has a website that they would probably link to me? And those are the types of things that you should do. Okay, local social media marketing. I'm not going to go into social media marketing because it works great for some businesses. It doesn't work well for others. We're not a social media marketing company, so I wouldn't even try to pretend that I'm going to be the expert on this matter. But here's what I can tell you. Even if you never were to post on social media again, you should go to Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and set up a profile. One, it will be diverse different links to your site. Two, you can use those to rank just like you can the citation. And three, you might find that actually one of those social profiles that you develop a following on, or that you find a way to post to. But regardless of whether or not you're going to post on these things, definitely take the time to set up profiles on the major sites. Okay. With paid search marketing, there's a ton of options out there. We talked about the one for locksmiths earlier. A new one that I saw pop up again was the lead collections for insurance companies. And then some of the more traditional options are desktop pay-per-click, which is standard, but now you add an extension to it. So if you go on Google, you search for a company and you see their phone number, hyperlinked below, especially when you're on a phone, that's a call extension. Mobile ads, you show them only on mobile devices, and you do it with location extensions. It's because people who search on mobile devices are like 70% of those people go on to visit a business within 24 hours. So say that you have a boutique clothing store, you might want to show an ad on mobile, and it has a location extension so they can easily find out where you're at. Another one is call-only campaigns. The volume of this is lower, but what you're paying for is the primary conversion rate, or the primary conversion goal, rather, of a call. So you can set those types of things up, and those are all variations you can use on a traditional paid search strategy that work really well for local. Okay, this part is extremely important. I've talked to so many people who have said, we've been doing SEO, we've been doing pay-per-click, we've been doing content marketing or social media, or any type of marketing, but we don't have any clue if it's actually beneficial or not. And a lot of companies, sadly, they like that, because if you don't set up proper tracking, then your customer has a hard time telling you definitively that you're not doing a good job, but you have a hard time telling them definitively that you are. So that's basically, there's a lot of fly-by-night operations that still do this, because they can collect money for 2 years and then move on. They don't really care. So what you want to look at if you're hiring a company, if you're setting this up yourself, if you're an SEO company, you should already be doing this, and if not, screenshot this page and make sure you start doing this. If you're in St. Louis and you're a plumber, you should know that the bulk of your traffic is coming from that area. A few years ago, and there's still people who, they'll send traffic to your site to look like you're getting more traffic, but it's not really converting. It's not really local or targeted. So even with something free like Google Analytics, you'll be able to look at where your traffic's coming from. It should be coming from your service area, or you need to figure out why it's coming from somewhere else. You need to look at a breakdown of your traffic sources. Again, implementing Google Analytics. Google Analytics is free, and it will track all this. Is social media sending traffic? Is it coming from referral sources? Is there a website that you're listed on that sends a ton of traffic? Are people finding you through search? Are they finding you through paid ads? And beyond that, how do they behave? Do people from social media convert twice as often as people from paid search traffic? You need to know those things so you can optimize each channel. Another metric tracked by Google Analytics, very important, time on page, bounce rates. This will give you an overview. Is your content good? Is your website set up? And did you meet searcher intent? If everybody who comes to your page leaves after 3 seconds, your bounce rate is going to be high. Your time on page is low. You don't have returned visitors. You're not completing goals. you know that your website and your content might be the problem. The average position for keywords in maps and localized organic results. You can track this a bunch of different ways. I personally use the SEMrush tool. They've got a great new local tracking module in there. But you need to see where you're ranking, and not just for your website, which is traditionally, you should be, if you've set up Web 2.0 properties, if you've set up profiles you're trying to rank, social profiles, citation sites, you should track all those to see if your efforts actually are helping those move up in the rankings. And you'll be able to figure out where to spend more money and where to spend less money so that you get the best return. Because the end of this is, it comes down to two things. You're going to invest time, or you're going to invest money, or you're going to invest both. Regardless of what your investment is, you have to make sure that you're seeing a return on it, or you need to find a different place to invest those things that will show you a return. And then once you know all these things, even the very basic data I talked about collecting before, you need to look at it. For example, is paid traffic better than referral traffic? Is organic traffic better than paid traffic? You need to look at it, specific to your site and see if organic traffic converts 10 times of what paid traffic does. You know that you should increase on your organic marketing and decrease on your paid. So those are all things that you should look at. And even if you're not doing this yourself, if you hire an SEO company, these are the questions they should be able to answer for you. All right, guys. Sorry about I rushed through the last few slides there. We're getting along on time, but we do have some time for questions now. So if you got any questions, I know we went over a lot. I'd be happy to answer them.
Awesome, Travis. Thank you. Let's go to one question here. Let's see. Number one, there's a bunch of questions, so I'm just going to try to summarize here. Number one SEO mistake you see when you have a new client that joins with you, that starts with you, and you get into their stuff and you say, oh man, you did X, that's not good. And then on the other side of that, what's the first thing you do when you immediately begin with a client?
Okay, so the number one mistake we see, that'd be hard to narrow it down to one mistake, but it comes down to two things. One, that they've paid no attention to their on-page SEO, and they've invested a ton of time and money in link building, and they can't figure out why it's not working. The other one is the opposite of that. They've done everything on-page great, but they've really spent no time on link building, and they can't figure out why just because they've done on-page great, they're not getting any results. So it's kind of a broad answer. Those are the two things we see. One very specific thing we see a lot is multiple Google My Business pages linking back to the home page instead of location-specific pages. To answer the second part of your question, I mentioned several times that it's really important to understand what the search results are for your specific industry, because they're so different now. Before, there were 10 blue links, and across the board, they might be the same. So the first thing we always do is we do a competitive analysis to see what their competitor, and we look at everything: on-page SEO, content links, keyword usage, backlinks, domain authority, every bit of information that we can find out about their competitors, and then we look at the search results for every one of the keywords. We look at the top 10, and we just repeat the process so that we really understand exactly what we're up against and what's already there that we can use to our advantage.
That's a great answer. Great answer. Well, Travis, thanks, man. We appreciate taking the time. And everybody, watch for the recording from us. We'll email it out to you. So thanks again, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon. Any final thoughts, Travis?
Nope, I think that's it. Just make sure that you really just take the time. If you don't do anything else, take the time to look at who's showing up where you want to be, and pay really close attention to why they're there, what types of sites are there, and stop trying to fight against Google and use what they're, use the information to give you to your advantage to make your life easier.
Great. Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
You too.